Hello and welcome to the second in a series of videos describing Broadcom's WICED development platform. In this series, we're going to show you various aspects of our solution. We're going to walk you, the developer, through how you can leverage our tools and create wonderful products that will enhance the way we interact with the world around us. The Internet of Things, IoT, is a computing concept that describes a future where everyday physical objects will be connected to the Internet and will be able to identify themselves to other devices. IoT is significant because an object that can represent itself digitally becomes something greater than when the object exists by itself. Many objects can act in unison related to each other and to you, the user, and provide ambient intelligence to enhance your overall experience in day-to-day living. Similarly, wearable computers, also known as bodyboard computers, are miniature electronic devices that are worn by the bearer under, with, or on top of clothing and provide advanced telemetry and sensor data to improve our quality of life. Wireless Internet connectivity for embedded devices, spelled WICED and pronounced as WICED, is Broadcom's solution to help provide you, the developer, of cool and interesting IoT products with the hardware, the tools, the development kits, and the broad-minded community to help bring these products to life. Broadcom's community site is designed to make it easy for you, the developer, to register and participate in an active community, including Broadcom engineering staff, as well as engineers and other technical support personnel from our distributors, VARs, partners, and other developers like you. Due to various trade compliance regulations, our community site requires you to register using a corporate email address. The process is simple and straightforward. An approval and your account setup takes only a few minutes and gives you access to the entire breadth of content our community has contributed. In this video, we will walk you through the process of getting started with WICED Smart. The first task is to get you access to some development boards. Once you're logged into the community site, please click through to the Partners portal. In the Partners portal, you'll find a number of resources, from development boards to engineering services. For now, we'll focus on getting you access to some hardware to start your next cool project with. On the big carousel on top, click on one of our partners globally who can get you access to these development boards. Now that you have access to the hardware, let's get you access to the SDK, the development tools, and all the documentation. Back on the main community page, let's go through to the WICED Smart portal. And next, we go on to the Documents and Downloads page. On this page, you'll find various SDK releases as well as documentation and other useful study material. At the time of this video, the WICED Smart SDK is at version 2.0.1. But do stop back here to check out new versions of the SDK that add more documentation, more sample applications, demos, and of course functionality to extend your projects to new dimensions. You will also notice that there is an additional download for the Smart SDK version 1.1. This SDK is needed for developers using the basic WICED Smart device, the BCM 20732, or the corresponding module, the BCM 20732S. These two devices are only supported by SDK version 1.1. If you're using Windows, the one-click installer will walk you through the entire installation process and get the SDK and the IDE ready for use. For OS X or Linux, there are additional instructions within the SDK download that show you how to integrate the SDK into the Eclipse IDE. Start up the SDK and we will now walk through the quick start guide and show you how to connect to the hardware development board. First, check your development board. It could be one of a few different types. This board is one of the most common boards you would have sourced and is designed primarily as a software development board. The wireless module on these boards are not intended for hardware production designs, and we will show some of the other boards that have hardware production ready modules on them for your reference later. As you can see on this board, there's a standard USB micro connector which is used to connect to the UART port on the microcontroller and allows you to download your application and software and debug. Normally, the SDK installation should have installed the USB drivers and you should now be ready to run your first application. However, if you would like to verify the driver installation is correct, follow the steps I'm showing here to verify the driver installation via the device manager on your Windows PC. Linux and OS X generally do not require this step, but you can use those operating systems tools to check the USB driver installation as well. You can follow along using the Quick Start guide now. We are going to use version QSG 201 of the guide. Pages 11 to 14 describe how to build, download, and debug your first application. We are going to use the sample application from the SDK that mimics a heart rate sensor and connects to an iPhone. Now that we have walked you through the process of developing and getting your first application running and connected to a phone via Bluetooth Smart, let's take a look at some of the other boards that you might come across in your development process. You're now looking at the Broadcom Sense sensor tag, which is a reference design that integrates sensors for various use cases. Next, we will look at some of the options you have for production versions of the hardware. These include SIP modules and development kits, as well as various PCB modules which have antennas integrated. Finally, we'd like to invite you back to our community site and encourage you to participate with all the other developers in creating cool new applications that will change the way in which we experience our world around us.